Joining us now, she's of course a legend in the sport, an institution at North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, the head coach Donna Pop, our good friend on the show, back on the show. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I hope you are.
I'm doing good. For those that are listening but may not see, I am wearing a North Carolina softball shirt that you were kind enough to send me, which I appreciate. So I wanted to show you the gratitude there by wearing the Tar Heel blue colors for you.
Well, I
Does it look
appreciate
good?
that.
Does it look good? Is this what
It
you
does
envisioned?
look good. It does look good. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for that. And I want to start off with something pretty cool you all just were a part of recently. A great charity event that you and the baseball program and your two lacrosse programs just took part. That it started to become a tradition there to come together to raise money with a quote lax ball, as you all as
Mhm.
it's now it's kind of been promoted. Just talk about what came about with this, and for those that may not be familiar with it, like what's the story behind it?
Sure. Yeah. We wanted to do something for the UNC Children's Hospital. And our men's lacrosse coach came up with the idea of, hey, let's try to do something and combine some of our teams. And I was interested in doing it, and women's lacrosse and baseball. And so we came up with lax ball. And so we use a flat wooden bat that we have experience with, and so does baseball with tennis balls. And last year we played it on the baseball field, and it was a big venue. And what we do is invite a lot of the community and the kids. We have one of the doctors from the Children's Hospital come out, throw out the first pitch. They had a couple of patients that had recovered from cancer from the Children's Hospital. They came out and spoke. This year, we had it at our venue at Anderson Stadium, which was a little more intimate. And last year, us and lacrosse, the men's lacrosse team won. This year, baseball and women's lacrosse won. So now we have a little rivalry going. But, honestly, for a great cause to raise funds for UNC Children's Hospital, and we all are invested in that. And the girls, all of our seniors played, all the seniors on all the teams, those 4 teams played. The rest of our team were in costume to give out candy and also support their teammates. It was a great event. We had a blast. Eric Montross was the MC for it. That's his second year being the MC, and he always does a great job. So, really a great event that we're hoping, we raised more money this year than we did the year before. We're hoping we can continue it as a tradition. We'll most likely have it at Anderson because the setting is, more kind, I guess, to the crowd. And so we're hoping to get even more of the community here with us. And, again, just had a lot of fun with it. And, the lacrosse players are probably the funniest because, they're not used to hitting anything. They're used to catching everything. And so they have a different, sport implement to use. And, but they did great. I mean, obviously they beat us, right? Lacrosse and baseball beat us. So, we're going to have to work on our skill for next year. But our girls hit too many line shots that were caught. They hit them to the outfield. They did well with it, but I told them to bunt, and when we did bunt, we got on. So needed a little more strategy. But
I was going to ask you, how much strategy goes into this?
well, you can. I mean, and the way we do it is we put across the infield, it's girl guy, girl guy. And when we bat, same kind of thing, like when you do co-ed or co-rec softball. So we did it like that, and we batted everybody through the line. But I kept telling my girls to like bunt, and they wanted to swing away. And one of them did finally bunt, and she got on easily because the defense was playing back. Not that it was going to hurt getting hit by a tennis ball, but anyways, it wound up, again, it was fun and enjoyable by everybody. So,
And it's a great cause.
yes,
And this is something you all want to kind of continue to build and grow
yes,
from it, correct?
yes, for sure.
And for information, for those who are interested, I'm going to give you 2 sites. Go to give.unc.edu. go to goheels.com. You get all the information there on how you could help out too as well if you can't make it to the game. But that's a pretty fun deal. I like the concept.
Yes.
This is
Yeah, it
pretty
was interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
let's how has the fall been going overall with your team?
I'm excited. We have a new hitting coach in Faleavu, and she's brought some great things with her. And I think, just the process that we've been going through for our hitting has been a great one. And I think, it's been a positive one. And, we started off our fall, we played Duke in the fall, and we played a number of, D1 schools, and I think we had something like 4 hits. And then, we played against East Carolina, we got 17 hits and 12 runs. And then, we played Elon, and we got, we keep track of hard hits. We got 24 hard hits, 24 runs. Played Central, North Carolina Central. I think we scored 12 runs, maybe got 13 hits against NC State the other night. I think we hit 4 home runs. They hit 5. We wound up winning the game, but every week we've just gotten better, more comfortable with what we're doing and in the process. And we say that the fall is teaching and learning, and that's what we've been doing this fall. And the girls have really embraced it. I think, I coach the slappers, and honestly, our slappers do swing. And so really right now we have 2 people slapping and the rest are swinging. And they've got some good power, and I've told them, like, I wanted them all fall to hit and get comfortable with the process. And then we can always get the slapping piece in, because so much of it, the swing or just the bat path and your bat control, the only thing that's different is really your feet, honestly. Obviously you're moving through the box versus standing there. I'm not trying to make it that simplistic, but a lot of the things that you're doing, with your top hand, bottom hand, coming through the zone and things like that, you can benefit from the hitting. And especially since slappers, they keep, calling you out of the box, no matter how much you work on it. You get called out so much. So you've got to find a way, if that's happening in a game, you got to have something else in your toolbox to go to. And so I want our slappers to be able to swing it. And, we do have some slappers that can swing it, and they've been staying with the hitting more than the slapping, but they've still got that, kind of in their arsenal. So I'm excited. I really am. I love this group. We've got talent. We've got, depth in pitching. We have an experienced defensive team back. And I think, we're hungry for what we didn't achieve last year, only having to win 1 game to get into the ACC tournament at the end of the year, and not doing that really has left a really bad taste in our mouth. And that's something that we don't want to have happen again. And I think, we have a team that can surprise some people, I think. I'm not going to, make all these predictions and things like that. I just know that we're working to get this team, our biggest thing hitting wise, hard hits, changing our mindset. And I think we've seen a lot more confidence in our players. And I really feel like they've bought in. I think Folly has done a really nice job of giving them her philosophy, her non-negotiables, her preparing, what a great person to have working with your hitters, somebody that's been to the World Series 5 times and has been a national champ 3 times. So, there's a lot there that you can take from that. And we're trying to really hone in on a lot of the things that are really important, paying attention to details and things like that. So it's been a great fall. And we've added Jordan Dale as a volunteer, and Jordan's had great experience as a pitcher, both at Virginia Tech and Oregon, and she's right out of school. Both her and Folly are very relatable for the girls in terms of their age, but they've just been there and done that. And so they have somebody that they can see right there. I'm a little bit older, just a few years, in my, 30s ish, but just kidding. But there's a relatability there. And I think, that you can't replace that part. Like I can't do that piece, coming right out of college right now. And so I think there's just so many positives from that. And I love, like I said, I love this team. They're a fun team. We've just finished pranking each other for a couple of weeks. And I'm just going to show you this. This is my stack right now, and I haven't even removed it all of
Oh, wow.
Post-its that were all over my office. We've had cups of water, we've had a good time. But they are a fun group, but they are a group that every week I feel like we're getting a little bit better with.
You mentioned related there. Was that something when as you got to know Fale, as you were going through this process to find your hitting coach, was that something, obviously her credentials speaks for themselves, what she's done in Oklahoma, obviously still playing, was playing with the professionally. Was that something that stood out to you? Like, hey, this is somebody that just got off the field. These players will be able to relate, because obviously
Yes.
she's young now in the industry. And I'm sure from her standpoint, it's like, wow, I get to learn from coaches here as she starts her coaching career here, is going in depth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the relatability that she has, how prepared she is, the preparation that she does, and her standards, and just her expectations. And I think they've again, it's a process too, in learning a new coach. But I've given her free rein. I want them to be able to, learn, understand, grow. And they've been doing that since day one with her. And so, it's been exciting to watch. And, I've learned from her, and I'm hoping, she's learning, some from me as well. But it's a good environment, and it's been fun. But the relatability for sure was huge.
Who are some of the offensive players that Tar Heel fans will get to depend on this year, you think? Because I remember last year when
Yeah,
you had some youth in certain areas, and you
yeah,
were certainly concerned about that, and
right.
perhaps that contributed to the way, not the satisfactory ending there. Do you have leaders established at there, or is that still evolving?
I really feel like it's still evolving because it's the fall. Like, I don't really want to say there's one person, because there's not. I mean, we've hit well and better and harder and things like that. And there's people every week, different people kind of going like this throughout. And so it's that part, like I said, it's been great. But if I were to say, I think I'd be unfair to my team to just say and single out certain people, because I mean, I could go through our whole roster, honestly, and there's been somebody every week maybe that's done it in a scrimmage or in a game or in a practice or something like that. So there's different people that are kind of making their way through and taking those little steps every week. So I'm reluctant, I guess, to kind of say who they are. Maybe closer to, when we open up, I might be able to say that with more confidence.
How do you envision the offense to look? Do you want it to be more more big power ball, Grumble? Because I know at times you've been in the past, you would run to be aggressive on the base
Right.
pads. Do you want more explosive bats as far as hitting the ball out of the park? What do you envision with Volley on board as far as how you want to see the offense look?
Yeah. And I think, well, the thing that she's really, brought is hard hits. And hard hits eventually are going to go out. We're not looking right now, we're not looking to be home run hitters per se. We're looking to hit the ball hard. It will elevate at some point. We're not like specifically trying to elevate it, but we're trying to hit it hard in the gaps. That is what we're working on. But I think the thing that I like about our team is we have power and we have speed. And I think we have a good balance of both. And I feel like our pitching, I was looking or watching the World Series last night, right? And so here you had what, 4 or 5 pitchers for the Astros that pitched a no-hitter,
Yep.
second no-hitter in history, behind Don Larson pitching it in 1956 or something like
Yep.
that. And
56.
so, to see that, like, I just thought about our pitching staff and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. When you talk about a staff, to have somebody that went 5 innings and then, had 3 other pitchers maybe or more that came in and they each pitched an inning and got their job done. And we have, 5 pitchers that I feel like they can do that for us. And, we can have somebody that can get a few innings and then another person that can get another one and keep the hitters off balance. So I like that part of our pitching piece too. And so I think, having that power and that speed, the balance that you're going to get there is great, because you're not just relying on the big hit, which I'm not denying, like, would I have loved to have you have an offense like Oklahoma? Oh my gosh, like every single player in their lineup is just smashes it. But to be able to have that speed also, and get them in a position right away, where, somebody can then do some damage, I think is great, so you have the best of both, really.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I've always been curious with your philosophy when you're, in a situation like this with Folly, do you reach out to a Coach Gasso and kind of get for reference and kind of pick her brain, or do you like to just know for yourself when you talk to a particular candidate like Folly in this case?
I totally called Coach Gasso. I called her and asked her, and she had nothing but just great things to say about her, and just how she prepared, and she just felt she was really somebody that was ready to kind of spread her wings. But she also made me promise, if we hired Fale, the deal was that we would have to come to Oklahoma and play in their new stadium. So
Oh,
not this year, but next year.
right, because that
So,
stadium's scheduled to open in 24. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I have to keep my word. And I said, if we do that, then I promise you we'll do that. So, but yeah, I totally talked to Patty about it. And, I felt really good after talking to her. So,
I love this. We're doing trades here. Like, hey, we
yes,
hire a coach. We come down to, yeah, she's been talking about that stadium. I think it's scheduled to open
yes.
2024. So
Mhm.
there you go. That's pretty, just, that's a good story. I love that. You mentioned the pitching staff. Uh, do you feel it's a by committee approach? Because I feel like where we've talked about, Pickett, George,
Yes,
lose that,
yes,
carry the load. How do you envision the pitching staff this year? Obviously, Chelsea Dobbins, who's obviously one of
yes.
the best pitching coaches there. How do you envision the 5 arms? Do you think it's a committee? Do you think somebody establishes themselves?
I think there will be people that will establish themselves as starters. And then I think we will have some people that'll be more, middle innings, or, somebody that's going to be more of a closer. But, I think I'm excited. We have 2 lefties on our staff, in Lily Backus and Bailey McCachran, and Bailey transferred in from Tennessee. And then, we have Carly Myrtle back, who's a right-handed, she's a sophomore. We have Talia Hannibal, and Talia, this will be, her second year here. And then we have Kenna Ray Dark, who's a freshman. And Kenna Ray's team, she played with the Thunderbolts this summer, and they won a national championship on the 18s. And so, I think that all of them complement one another in a lot of ways. And we're still working too with our pitching staff to see who's going to be maybe that starter, and how many innings are they going to go? I don't know, and so that part, in all of our fall games, they've all pitched, and they've all, they've all started a game, they've all been in the middle, they've all closed. So all of them have had that experience, and we're just seeing how they respond in those roles. So I think, it's always for them, the players really make kind of the lineup a lot by what they do in practice, and and how they perform.
Yeah, that's definitely a big, and it sounds like competition internally too. That brings out the best in everybody. That sounds to me like what you do. You like the depth on this roster? I feel from listening to you, it sounds like you like the depth you have this year. Is that
I
accurate?
do. I do. Yeah. And I really feel like there's been some maturity and, we have a senior class of, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7. We have 7 seniors and one that's a graduate student, in Abby Settlemeyer. We have some, a 5th year, obviously the COVID year is kind of on its way out. So we have a couple of 5th years and then your 4-year seniors. So 7 seniors, I consider them all, a part of our leadership group. So we don't have specific captains, but it's that whole group of seniors. And so I think, that's very helpful for us to have that maturity and them being, another year older and more experienced and things like that. So I'm excited about that. And like you said, the depth, at the positions that we have.
I'm curious. Obviously, doing the bonding with baseball and lacrosse that we talked about earlier. You look at the success with with men's basketball, the incredible run in Huber Davis Final Four. Their excitement this year. I think they're preseason #1 by many
Yeah.
people that follow college basketball. Football's having a great year, top 25. Coach Brown doing a great job there. North Carolina women's soccer, ho hum, another strong year from Coach Dorrance. I'm curious, how much do you tell your players there to kind of feed off of that and support each other there and kind of get that kind of that feel that from that success and that vibe that comes there? Do you kind of relay that to your players?
Yeah, you do. And even our women's field hockey team is undefeated right
Yep.
now. And they got, coach of the year, Coach Shelton, and player of the year, Aaron Matson. I mean, so many of the teams, you're just surrounded by greatness all the time. And that's what, we're aspiring to. Like we want to be, better than what we've been the last couple of years. And I think you can take a lot of cues from those teams. I've wanted to take, and some of them are coming to the end, but take them to a practice, take them to one of the other team's practices. I used to do that a long time ago, just to see how they work. And I think that tells you a lot right there. You don't even have to really say anything. So we've still got men's basketball to be able to watch. And I know that we can go in there and watch them and they'll allow us to do that. And so I think, you can get a lot from that, but yes, definitely. I think the players and the teams here do support one another well. Some of them are roommates with each other and they go to other, teams matches and they get to be friends, with the volleyball team or, women's lacrosse or whatever, field hockey, whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the teams here are really, really doing well. Our fall teams, even our men's soccer, all of them. So it's fun to be around that all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm gonna give you credit. I remember a year ago I asked you about Hubert Davis, how he would do first year. You're like, hey, he's gonna be fine. Don't worry about him. He's gonna be fine. And heck of a run to the Final Four. So I'm gonna give you credit. You're the prophet on the Hubert Davis. He needs to give you some credit because
Yeah.
I know there was some growing pains early on, but you said no, don't stay. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's a great guy. And it shows, I think it shows in how, he is with his players. I think he really, really, he values relationships, like I said earlier, a lot. And that's what he builds besides the basketball, that the knowledge that he has. But that relationship building is huge to him and it makes a big difference.
I want to ask you about Coach Hutch retiring abruptly, just in her style, just a quick, no celebrity, no big fat hoopla, just deciding to retire. Now, what was your reaction when you heard the news that she decided to retire?
I figured she wanted to play more golf. No, I don't know. No, I mean, Hutch has been great in our sport. She was a great athlete. She's produced great teams. They've been consistent year in, year out. She's always fought for women and their rights and equality. She's a mainstay in our sport, really. And I was kind of shocked, to be honest. but, kudos to her, she deserves to go out how she wants to. And she's done a lot of great things for the sport. She's left a legacy at Michigan. She's left a legacy in our sport, and I'm sure she still has more things to do in our sport and for women's sports. And, she did great things for cancer. They do a big academy, and I mean, you can't say enough great things about Hutch. She's one of a kind for sure. And she is a great golfer. I heard she got, I think it was an eagle the other day on the golf course.
Whoa.
I think I read that. I don't know if I read it in a tweet or I don't know, somewhere I saw that. But anyways, so I think, she's done a lot of things in her career, and however, again, she wanted to go out. I'm sure, that was her call all the way.
Wow. I mean, obviously you had no inkling. You hosted her last year. You got to
Yeah.
host her. That turns out it's the last time you get to face her.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I had no idea. So,
Wow. That's it's just kind of wild, but like you said, she's she did it on her terms there, and you're right, she doesn't like to golf. I mean, do you like golf? What do you like? Is there any sport you pick up on the side?
I do like to golf. I probably am a better chipper and putter than I am long driver, but recently, since COVID, been playing pickleball, and we
Wow.
have a big pickleball group here at UNC. Bubba, our AD, plays. Our women's lacrosse coach, Jenny, our women's tennis coach. Let's see, who else? Lacrosse assistants, some football. I mean, you name it. And I think it's every Wednesday night we play. And that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun. Just get to meet different people. It's a big department. We have 28 sports, so it's hard sometimes to know everybody. Anson Dorrance plays. So there's a lot of people on those courts. Heather O'Reilly comes and plays, and
Ooh.
so there's some good competition. There's a lot of competitive
I was
people
gonna
on those
say,
courts.
that's it.
Yeah.
Like, who's the top player? Who's the top player?
Anson and his son Donovan, they're tough. They are really tough to play against when they come near the kitchen, and they kind of spread their wings. They're tough to beat. They play together, a lot. I think, our tennis coach, Brian Calbus, he's, the spin that he puts on it, he's got a
Yeah.
good touch. Jenny Levy's great, our women's lacrosse, there's some really, like I said, there's some good players. Bubba is very good. No matter who you get, go on the court with, it's tough competition.
That's pretty. How about your staff? Others in your staff play?
Bale just started playing and she
There you
loves it.
go.
We actually took the girls out for one of our fun Fridays, and we took them down to the pickleball courts to play. So they had a really good time doing that. Some have played, but most of them had not, and they really enjoyed it. So we're probably going to do that again.
Oh, Chelsea, we got to get my girl Chelsea involved. Come on, Chelsea.
She did play. Well,
She
she
did?
played and she enjoyed it, but Fale has gotten involved in the Wednesday night group. She's got 2 kids.
She
So
does. That does.
that's,
She does.
when you have a 2-year-old and I don't know, maybe a 10 or 11-month-old, that's kind of tough.
No, she's got a good excuse,
Yeah,
very legitimate.
yeah.
Yeah, pickleball. Where did this explode? I noticed I've watched this on TV recently, and I'm like, where did they got a pro league? People are investing in it. Like, I mean, how
Yes.
did you get involved? Like, how did this pick
I
up
think
interest?
during COVID,
Right?
people got their own nets. I know I was down somewhere and people had their own nets across a driveway, drew out the lines. You could almost play it anywhere. You were outside. Now what LeBron James is sponsoring a pro team. People are building them, and all the communities are building them. They have them in a lot of places in Florida, right? In the
Yeah,
villages and
yeah, yeah.
places like that. And so it's gotten to be like huge, really big sports on TV, or you see a lot of videos on it, all the strategy. We've had a couple of pros come and work with us here and give us some clinics at Carolina. And so that's been fun and interesting to learn some of the nuances of the sport. And but it just seems like, it just is friendly to a lot of people, because you can play mostly 4 people. You can play singles, but most people play doubles. So.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Okay.
Mhm.
I have to take notes there. I may have to get like some
Yeah.
advice from you here, or at
Yeah.
least if you need a broadcaster,
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? That would be the next biggest thing, I guess, to have pickleball broadcast, right?
Yeah, that's the next step. I mean, I've seen it on television, so obviously there's a market for it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to market that. That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to give me a feedback on your game as this goes on.
Okay, I
I'm
will.
intrigued
I
by this.
will. Hopefully, I mean, there's some shots, it's tough. I tell you, it's, because especially like when you play against the guys, some of them, the bigger guys that are tall, their wingspan and across where the kitchen is, kind of like where you would have, in tennis, that area up front when you're at the net, but you can't technically go inside the kitchen and be right at the net to attack. So those guys spread their wings and it's hard to hit it by them.
Wow, that's pretty
Mhm.
good. Let's talk about the ACC this upcoming season here.
Mhm.
Strong year last year. You had Florida State hosting, you had Duke hosting, Clemson is hosting, Virginia Tech hosting, all national seeds there. Georgia Tech got in. I mean, there was others that could have gotten in easily. So it's a battle every weekend. Just discuss the growth of this league I mean, you have seen it all in this league. Uh, when was the turning point you felt like where this league now has become a power league in the sport of softball? I would say some would argue top three in the sport, no worse
Mhm.
than top four. Where was that turning point?
I think probably when Florida State won the national championship. I think that kind of opened up people's eyes to the ACC a little bit more. Lonnie's done a great job there for sure. And then I just, some just trying to get better scheduling and getting better scheduling. You're trying to get better recruits and some new programs, invest in, with Clemson and Duke and, and Virginia Tech, has, not that they're a new program, they're, newer, but not as new as, Duke and Clemson. But I just think, the sport itself has grown, but the ACC, I think we committed to having better schedules and scheduling better opponents. And then you have to recruit better players. And so I think all of those things combined, kind of catapulted the ACC. And now, they're a conference that's a viable conference and people want to play in the ACC, I think, is almost as much as they want to play in the SEC. And so if you, and two, I think, academically, a lot of times too, a lot of the schools are, pretty academic and but the growth of the sport plus the growth of the conference has been exciting. It's no joke, the 3-game series every weekend. You can't take, a playoff or anything. And it's a credit to all the coaches that are in the conference, really. They've built their programs, however they've built them, in terms of, the newer programs and Lonnie's been established and she's done a great job and there's just a lot of up and coming ACC programs too, and every year it's Notre Dame has done a great job as well. And so yeah, I mean, it's fun to be able to compete in a conference like this.
Instant replay. What's been your thoughts on instant replay? Do you use it? I know some schools in the ACC use. I know Notre Dame, for example, used it all of last season. What's been your thoughts on instant replay in the game?
I love it. I think it's great. 2 less times for me to get aggravated and get mad and maybe get kicked out. No, I love it. I do think it's great. I mean, the umpires, they're not perfect. They're human. They make, mistakes. They have to make some calls like that. And sometimes they get it wrong and sometimes they get it right. And so it takes a lot of the guesswork out, at least for two calls. We're actually right now, our guys just came today and they're laying the wiring for it for us for this season. And we did use it last season, not here, but other places that we went. And I really liked having it, honestly. I think it's good for the game. It's not really meant, I don't think, to show up an umpire at all in any way, shape, or form. I think it just helps in the game itself. And if you have the opportunity to use it, I think it's worth it to use it. So
That because I know last year the league kind of made it optional, right? It was up to each school what they could do. Is that where we're
yes.
still are at with it? And then it sounds like you're using it this year.
Yes, we are using it this year.
Okay.
So,
That's pretty good. And I
yeah.
think I agree with you. Like, I mean, the athletes are so fast now. You can't, umpires are human beings too. We tend to forget that, and you're gonna miss some calls. And the competitive level, like, you have the technology, and it's a quick fix.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, again, yeah, they're not perfect. Nobody is. And, why not? If you have the opportunity to use it, why not?
Big voting coming in January. D1 Council about the coaching, the volunteer coaching, making them full time, paying coaching jobs. There. What's your thoughts? I know this has been a topic for baseball and softball the last couple of years. It didn't pass a couple of years ago. Back up to the vote. Uh, Indications, optimism there that it's going to pass. What's your thoughts on that as far as the coaching expanding there, as far as the ruling there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think it gives people, you still have the opportunity to have a coach, a volunteer. You're basically, it's not funded through your budget here, you're doing it out of camp or whatever. I don't know that, are all the schools going to fund it appropriately. That's the only thing. I think different schools are going to have better resources to be able to fund that position better than others. I think it's good, but I also know that it's going to be probably institutional. And I don't know if that there will be, you're not going to necessarily set, well, they have to get paid X amount. I mean, I think every institution is going to decide what they can and cannot pay, or how that's going to be funded. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, where again, some schools are always going to have an advantage, depending on how many programs you have. If you have 15 sports versus 28 or something like that, that's going to make a difference on what you're going to be able to do. But making it a full-time position, or I think it's great.
Volleyball and women's soccer. Women's volleyball and women's soccer this year is experimenting with, instead of just seeding the 16 teams, they're seeding 32 teams. They're going to do it 1 through 8 through 4 regions. It's an experiment this year that'll take place this year. I know people in softball and baseball are following this closely because they want to see how it goes on that. Is that something you would be in favor of seeding up to 32? Part of the theory this has come up is because of teams getting bracketed to a region, for example, because of the 400-mile radius rule. Now, by seeding the top 32, in theory, there would be more variety. You'd probably have teams more properly seeded and not be forced to go to a regional because of geography.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I think if that can happen, I'm not really opposed to it. I would have to see it in action, I guess, and see and get the opinions, I guess, once it happens in volleyball and soccer. Was it a good thing? Do you think this was the way to go with it, or is it better to leave it the other way? In theory, it sounds like something that would be a good thing. Just have to see when they actually play it out. Is it, will it actually do what they want it to do?
Yeah, no, I
But
agree.
it does give you 16 more spots to put teams. So it probably will do that, but it's like anything. If you start it the first time, kind of see, you have to work out some of the kinks with it, and there may be something come up that they don't even expect. So, but in theory, it sounds good.
Yeah, could give student athletes new experiences, right? Because
Right.
there's the kind of like, well, okay, well, this team's going to go to this regional more than
Mhm.
likely, and things like that. So in
Right.
theory, that could alleviate some of that. We'll see. Like you said, that's why they're trying it out with volleyball and soccer, and I think that's something that's going to be an underlying storyline that will be certainly could impact softball down the road. All right, we can't let you go without mentioning Taryn, who is not with us on this episode because she's busy. She's got the singing career, but she's also getting married. So she's getting ready for a wedding. I'm smart enough to know don't interfere with somebody that's planning for a wedding. Now, we're not going to mention when the wedding's taking place or dates or any of that stuff, but we will mention this fact that she's getting married during the softball season, Coach. What? Come on. Doesn't she know better than that? She's married in the softball season?
I know. When she texted me and said, "Hey, Aunt Donna, we set a date," and I was like, "Oh, Taryn, that's so awesome." And she said, "Yeah, it's in March." And I said, Oh, that's even better. I said, seriously, but it's her wedding and yeah, for it to be during softball season, it was a little bit rough to think about that. We are very close and I certainly don't want to miss her wedding. Very important to me to go to it, and it being in March makes it really challenging.
Yeah,
But
I'd
yeah,
say so. Like,
kind of. Yeah,
yeah, she's
kind
gonna
of.
like she owes you. Like she's gonna have to owe you. There's like softball season. Doesn't she not know? I mean, we're gonna have to give her a hard time. We're gonna have to bring her back on the show next
Yes,
year, and we're gonna have to roast her. We're just gonna have to roast her next year.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. Because I still can't believe it. No, I'm really happy for her. And but yeah, that was a shocker. I think they really were trying to do it earlier, but the job that he has, he couldn't do it during that time frame. So this was the next best month, I guess. So there you have it.
They say so. We'll take their word for
Yeah.
it. But no, hey, look, congrats to her. Obviously, we've had her. Obviously, she's been on the show multiple times. We'll get her back on. But man, Martin, I can't believe that. It's football season. I mean, that's put it to this way: if she sent me the invite, I'm saying, I mean, you're a better person than I am, obviously, which is without question. Because I would have said, no, I got. I mean, come on, it's softball season. What are
Yeah.
we doing?
Yeah.
La-
I had some angst over it
I
for
bet you
sure.
did.
I did.
I'm on your side on this. You know,
Yes.
I will defend you on this completely. This
Thank
is
you.
we need to
Thank
make
you.
a we need to pass a rule. No marriages during softball season. All
That's
right.
right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what the summer's for. Just
Hmm.
anyway.
That's what I was hopeful for. Mhm.
All right. Before we get in more trouble, last thing between now and February, obviously you talk about this group, the bond that you've had here. What's going to be the keys for this team to accomplish what you want them to accomplish once you get going in the season?
I think they need to, put their foot on the gas pedal and go and not stop for anything. Just not be satisfied, and continue to work every day. And just to, we talk about kind of putting money in the bank, and we need to keep on putting deposits in and deposits in. We don't need to, to take them out. We need to keep growing our account and really making sure um, that we are holding each other accountable every single day, to to our teammates, and again, just go after it and compete hard. So I think that is really, it's going to be more of our mindset more than the actual, and I don't mean this, the skill set, but the mindset is going to be what drives us. And I think we have some of the skill set for it, but that is going to be where we really need to, if we can get that where we need it to be. And that's not going to just, be like that. We're working on it right now. We'll continue to work on it. And when we come out in the spring, we have great opportunities in the spring. We open up in Mexico, and we're going to play Oklahoma State, and that's probably one of the the bigger opponents, I guess. Their RPI was 4 at the end of last year, and so we have the opportunity to make some noise early in the season with some of the opponents we have. But opening up in Mexico is going to be pretty fun, and exciting for a lot of our players. I think we have maybe 2 or 3 players that went to Mexico the last time we went, and that's it. So, just being able to, again, come out and just keep going at it every single inning and not be satisfied with what we do. Just go after it and have that competitive mindset.
Yeah, you're gonna starting out in Mexico for the Puerto Vallarta tournament,
Yes.
and then the ACC Big Ten Challenge the following
Yeah.
week.
Hmm.
So you're gonna learn a lot right away.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And we have great and we always just keep saying we just have great opportunities in front of us. Every time you go out there, you have an opportunity, and it's what you choose to do with that opportunity. There's a lot of things obviously you can't control, and it's this old, but attitude and effort make up for a lot. And that's what you can control, and you can't control the weather, the umpires, the calls, any of that. Control what you can control, be your best self, and go after it. And, you know, we've talked about elevating, you know, we want to elevate. That's on our, one of our shirts, you know, just elevate everything, our standards, you know, how we are, what we do, elevate everything. And that's what we're looking to do.
So we look forward to seeing your team once it gets going up in Mexico to start the season and throughout the year, Coach. Always appreciate you talking to us and taking the time from your busy schedule. You got lots going on, and always a pleasure to talk to you. Enjoy the pickleball if you play between now and
Yeah.
February, and send our best to Taryn. We're genuinely excited for her, obviously, on her big spring. We kid with her a lot, but I'm excited. So send her our best there, and congrats. And thanks for coming on as always.
Yeah. And thanks for wearing our Carolina
That's
softball
right.
shirt. That's awesome.
Hey, feel free
Love
to
it.
every time bring up gear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
All
all
right.
good with that.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.